Although I am getting better, it's not always easy. The last few days have been good, but they're not all like that. Sometimes they are really bad. I've learned that you just have to pick yourself up and keep going. I guess what my nan used to say is true. That what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I am certainly stronger. But my eating disorder nearly killed me. You see, when I was in my early teens, things got really tough for me and my family. It was like this dark cloud came over us, and all I could think was that I was fat. I hated myself. I had this friend, Anna. Well, she was more of a voice inside my head, but to me she felt real. She would tell me that if I got thin, people would like me, that I would fit in. Over time though, her voice got more demanding. You're not good enough as you are. You need to do better. This is not good. That's not good. Look at your fat face. Look at your fat tummy. Look at your fat arms, wrists, thighs. You are fat. Websites would give me tips and tricks on how to restrict food and not attract too much attention. They would tell me to say that I'd eaten loads in school and also to show me how to hide food, crumble or soak it up. They told me to add weight to my clothes when I went to the doctors in case they wanted to weigh me, or have my hair wet or waterload, which basically means drinking loads of liquids. The trick I used most was saying that I was going to sleep and then doing stomach crunches in bed. I used to do hundreds. People were always saying that I was losing too much weight, but I still thought I was fat. Feeling fat all the time made me believe I was ugly and disgusting. I was ashamed of myself. I felt down all the time and tears were never far away. Sometimes I just felt like ending it all. It was too much to deal with. My body was changing. Clumps of my hair would come out. Sometimes the muscles in my legs would give way as they were so weak, and I would fall over. I was also taking lots of paracetamol as I was often in pain. Then my period stopped, and that really frightened me because I thought I would never be able to have children. I would feel cold and sick most of the time, and my stomach had shrunk so much that if I did eat, it would just come back up. I couldn't think straight. It was like my mind was taken over with thoughts about my weight. It was all I thought about. Looking back, I guess I never had a good relationship with food. I often ate when I was sad or bored, not when I was hungry. I could easily eat through a large packet of crisps or biscuits. Anything that made me feel stressed out would make me comfort eat. Food masked what I was feeling, and I could temporarily escape. And then I would feel guilty and make myself throw up to get rid of everything I had eaten. So before I had anorexia, I probably had bulimia. I was caught in a cycle of binge eating, then vomiting or taking laxatives to get rid of the food, and again, I often felt very anxious. You only have to switch on the TV or go on the internet to see all these skinny, beautiful girls. Of course, my IT teacher, Miss Hobson, told me that they were photoshopped, but I didn't know that before. And there's so many products to help you diet. They say you're only beautiful and worth something if you're thin. I couldn't see myself as thin, and that destroyed my self-esteem. I kept finding really harmful material on the internet, which encouraged me to be thin. They didn't see my illness as a mental health difficulty, but a way of life. They called it thin-inspired or thinspiration. I became more and more preoccupied with my weight and body image, and that was getting in the way of my everyday life. I was missing lots of school and started to stay away from my friends. When I could no longer hide it from my family, my weight loss brought tension and arguments. They just didn't get me, and sometimes I felt they were more obsessed about my weight than I was. Food was the only thing I felt I could control, and I didn't want anyone else to control it. I was thin-inspired. They were not, and this was my thing. I didn't recognise I had an eating disorder and even if I did, I wouldn't have wanted to give it up at that stage. My doctor arranged for me to go to a child and adolescent mental health services. They call it CAMHS. It was the last place I wanted to go. I felt there was nothing wrong with my mental health. I was just fat. The CAMHS worker told me people were concerned about me. At first I would argue when they threatened me with hospital. And then I played a game to convince them I was better. Anna and I came up with some great ideas to convince them I was okay. We felt victorious. I convinced them I was better, so we finished there. However, I got much worse until my body mass index, BMI, was so dangerously low that I was brought back to CAMHS. Either that or it was hospital. This time I saw a different CAMHS clinician who explained so much more to me in a language I could understand. She didn't use acronyms and wanted to know what was important to me and to my family. She told me about the things that CAMHS could do and asked me if I was prepared to work with them. The clinician told me about some of the work they had done with other young people. Part of me didn't believe them, but the other part of me was a bit excited to get rid of all the constant arguments and tensions at home. I remember that day well. My mum cried. She said she had been given hope. I was given information about impact on bones and physical health. I was told things like my brain could shrink, and as I was starving, I could not always think rationally. I was even told not to move about so much as I couldn't afford to burn calories, even to avoid going up and down stairs at home. I was shocked, and this time the fear seemed more serious than ever before. Mum and Dad were terrified at this point, as they thought they were going to lose me. We looked at my diet and the need for me to start eating 3 meals per day plus snacks. At first this seemed overwhelming, but we started off with very small meals and then slowly built up. Physically, I wasn't able to eat a lot as my stomach had shrunk so much as it had to be done over time. The CAMHS clinician used motivational interviewing and cognitive behavioural therapy. I was beginning to leave my old ways behind and instead trying new things. We looked at what I wanted to achieve and set some goals, like making conversation at the dinner table. I was amazed to find that not all my goals were about food. I was given workbooks and exercises in between sessions, which also helped to keep me focused. My parents now seem much calmer. They had also had time with the clinician, and we were all involved with reviews. This all helped to build all of our resilience. Yes, it wasn't easy, but we were now starting to function as a family again. At times, I had hated them. I was so angry with them. But I realised now, they just didn't know what to do. As a result of some of these changes, Anna, the voice inside of my head, was losing her influence over me. Although at times she would come back and taunt me. Sometimes that would work and I would control food again. But as I was getting stronger, there was much more hope. I understood what was going on, and now I could be kinder to myself. The clinician said that showed signs of me being more resilient. As I was eating more, my thinking was changing for the better. The dark cloud was lifting. When my BMI started to increase, the clinician talked to us about the need to continue helping build my resilience, to help me emotionally bounce back. I was becoming physically stronger. Along the way, me and my family got support from various people. My key worker, Kath, also told me about 5 things I could do for my mind each day. She suggested that I think about 5 things that I like to do, things that make me feel happy and calm. My 5 things are making cards to thank people who supported me, going to look at the river, writing my thoughts down, going swimming, and catching up with friends. There were other things that she suggested, like going to a positive wellbeing website and downloading their app, rather than the harmful websites I'd looked at earlier. And eating well. I did used to enjoy cooking before, even when I was unwell, but now I can eat a meal and enjoy it too. I can't believe how much energy I have. I feel like a new person. Hola, buenos dias. Me and my dad started going to Spanish classes, which was fun, and we had silly conversations. Me and Mum did some art and craft work, making small presents for friends who had helped me, and with whom I needed to build bridges because we had drifted apart. Mum and I would also go to the pictures or the theatre, and we joined a community singing group. We had a ball. When I was ill, I would read so many harmful things on the internet, and now I was getting better. I could see there are lots of good things out there too. Helpful websites and mood apps where I've been encouraged to celebrate my new achievements. I eventually started to write some blogs to give others hope. As I missed a lot of school, I had quite a bit to catch up on. I liked science, especially learning about my body. Again, I didn't realise the physical harm I was doing, and I now know I could have died because of this. I'm really interested in how our bodies and minds work. I'm not sure what I want to do yet, but I bet it will be something in that field, something really meaningful. As a result of the support I've had, I now know that eating disorders are something which can be overcome. I'm more optimistic and see myself as someone who is resilient and able to recover. I'm now learning to deal with problems in a way I hadn't been able to before. I'm learning to understand and deal with my emotions, and I am finding ways to soothe myself that doesn't involve food. And I'm following a structured eating plan which has helped me to stay on track. Having this experience has enabled me to see life differently. I've started to gain insight into myself, and I'm finding things that I like about myself. Me and my mum have given some talk to CAMHS staff and also to others about eating disorders. We talk about the good and not so good aspects of the service and areas that they can improve. We both say that having some help at mealtimes in the family home would have been really good. We have also had some consultations with the school, as they have spoken to Mum and Dad about feeling underconfident about the situation. Teachers and pupils had expressed concerns about me, but they were unsure as to how to handle it. We have spoken about having a more joined-up approach with the school, GP, CAMHS, and parents. I've met new people along the way, and I've made some really good friends. People seem to forget boys also can get eating disorders. One lad, Mark, has a condition called ARFID. He restricts food, but he doesn't see himself as fat. And then there's this other lad, Connor, but his eating disorder is more about sensory integration, and he says it's a neurodevelopmental condition. You see, we are all just very different, and he has different needs to mine, but I am learning to understand him and him me. I am trying to make it up with my brother and some of my old friends. I was angry at them for talking about me behind my back. It was only out of concern though, but at the time, I felt like they were judging me. And as for my brother, I know he didn't get enough attention at times, as it was all going on me. I'm still in recovery, and I suspect I will be for a very long time. I feel a very different person as a result of my illness. Today, if I saw me, I think I would actually like myself. I've never said or felt that before.